Good afternoon, race fans, and welcome here to the Pocono Mountains as Pocono Raceway plays host to race number 24 of Season 4 of the NNSCRA Duracell Cup Series. Earlier on today, we had the non-charter qualifying session, which was only 20 laps in length, and we even saw a round of green flag pit stops there. This is a very long 2.5-mile tri-oval that does a lot in terms of fuel consumption, with a couple of very fast corners here, especially the tunnel turn over in turn 2. And so we could very well see today's 50-lap main event come down to green flag pit stops as well. Couple of drivers, well, quite a number of drivers coming into this race still have a shot of making it into the playoffs with only 3 races left in the regular season. If they could find victory lane today, it would certainly help their case. One of those drivers lines up on the pole position. Levi McIntire, 20th in the point standings, 3 top 5, 6 top 10s, but so far has not found victory lane since last season when he took the win at Charlotte in the Coke 600. Levi McIntire, if he were to win here today, would certainly put himself into the conversation for a playoff position. Alongside of him is going to be Cole Deaver in the 08. Now, Deaver's already locked himself up into the playoffs with 2 trips to victory lane this season at both ISM and then following that up with a win at the Indianapolis Grand Prix road course. He's 13th in points, but he is trying to be the first 3-time winner on the season, as we saw Jordan Lopes last week make it now 8 drivers that come into this race with 2 wins apiece. Row 2 is where you're going to find some more drivers that are trying to find their first win on the season. Benny Watson, who is 10th in the point standings, and James Qualls, 21st in points. Row 3 also holds some drivers that are looking for their first win on the season. Charles Sandfer, who right now finds himself in 27th in points, and J Millz, who lost a couple of spots last week after Watkins Glen. He is 11th in points coming in this race, the most winningest driver in the Duracell Cup Series, still with a 0 in the win column. So 50 laps of racing here today. It's time to go down trackside, get those most famous words in motorsports before we show you your grid.
Drivers, start your engines!
Pace car is going to lead the 42-car field off of pit road. Our 36 charter drivers and the 6 drivers that qualified their way in through non-charter qualifying earlier on today. Take a look down in the description below for your full starting lineup for today's Explore the Pocono Mountains 350. All right, let's talk points. Let's talk playoff grid coming into today's event. Right now, Jordan Lopes, with his second win on the season last week at Watkins Glen, is your points leader, 10 points in hand over Dylan Young. Mitchell Collins is now third in the standings, tied for third with teammate Adam Garcia, who dropped from the points lead after hardships last week. They're 15 points out apiece. 21 points back is another 2-time winner in N Ormond, currently 5th in the standings. Jack Mitchell, still the highest running driver in the points without a victory. He's 6th. Jesse Turner, 2-time winner, is 7th. Carson Gum is in 8th. 9th is T Wright. And Benny Watson completes top 10, 52 points, separating the top 10 in the standings. For your playoff grid, 2-time winners Jordan Lopes, Mitchell Collins, Adam Garcia, N Ormond, Jesse Turner, T Wright, Cole Deaver, Ryan Butcher. They are all tied for the number 1 seed, if you will. That's 8 drivers with multi-time wins. Dylan Young, 1-time winner, as well as Ryan Brommer, K Batson, Charles Belding, Zach Rogers, and Patrick Smith. They are currently in playoff positions with their trips to victory lane this season, leaving 2 spots currently open for drivers to either point their way in or get their way in through a non-charter transfer spot. Right now, one of those spots belongs to Chris Dullerton. The other one kind of up in the air right now, still being held by highest in points without a victory, Jack Mitchell. But that could change after today's race. Let's get ready for a fuel strategy race here, folks. There's no doubt about it. Pit road is going to play just as much of a factor as the racetrack itself. Green flags in the air. Let's roll at Pocono. We had ourselves an early caution back on lap 1 of the non-charter race. We'll see if they're able to make the first lap here of the main event race under green flag conditions. Levi McIntire on the pole and is looking for the 5th win on the season for Blue Oval Automotive. They've got 2 wins with Jordan Lopes, 2 wins with T Wright. Benny Watson going to slide into second, ahead of Cole Deaver. This is the tough turn right here, turn 3. And it looks like they're all going to get through it. And they do. All 42 cars will come down and complete the first lap under green flag conditions as Charles Sandfer now looks 3 wide for second place, putting his S3 Motorsports teammate in the middle. Couldn't make the move. Oh! And he gets hooked up into the wall by Ryan Brommer. Caution's going to fly. Look out, oncoming field. Somehow everyone avoided Ryan Brommer and Charles Sandfer. Caution is out for the first time today, as Levi McIntyre looks to lead them back to the caution. Cole Deaver and Benny Watson looking to try and get by him. They've got one more shot here into turn 3. Deaver going to look low. Engages the slingshot. Can he clear the 99 by the time they come off the final turn? He can. Cole Deaver is going to lead them back here to the caution flag in the Wheaties Chevrolet. McIntyre, Watson, Ryan Butcher, and J Qualls will be the top 5. And kind of almost saw that happen live. Charles Sandfer was trying to make a 3-wide move, it looked like, for second place. Tried to tuck back in line. Ryan Brommer was there. And both of those drivers now have some pretty good damage to their respective machines. So as Cole Deaver waits for the pace car to pick them up, we'll go back and take a look at a replay. Bear in mind, we are probably going to see these drivers on pit road here on this lap. I know it's early, but we saw our non-charter drivers come to pit road on lap number 2 with the only caution of that race, just to get that little extra bit of fuel and top off to make it a couple of extra laps if we go into a long green flag run. So we'll come back and find out the fallout from that. As let's go back and see what brought out the first caution of the day here at Pocono. Yeah, we saw this move all the way back, almost at the start-finish line. Sandfer trying to get the run to the inside of Cole Deaver and Benny Watson for second place. Now, with no draft down there, he did not have the run to be able to stay to the inside. And he tries to tuck in line there in front of Ryan Brommer. You saw the 9 dive it deep into the corner there. And yeah, I think what happened there was Ryan Brommer had so much momentum, Charles Sandfer had to lift to tuck back in line behind his teammate. And Ryan Brommer just was not ready for that. It's amazing that we didn't have either Ryan Brommer nor Charles Sandfer's cars slide back down this banking and into oncoming traffic. I was fully expecting to see several other drivers get bits and pieces of this one, but boy, we dodged a bullet there. Very fortunate that it was just a 2-car incident there heading into turn 1 to put us under the caution for the first time here today. Looks like despite the damage sustained on both Charles Sandfer and Ryan Brommer, those two will be able to continue. So all 42 cars to take the green to start this race will take the green here on the restart, lap 7. Dylan Young, very unique strategy here out of the White Deuce. Dylan Young is second in the point standings with a victory, so he has pretty much solidified himself a playoff spot, but he's going for broke here. He was the only driver that elected to stay out here under this caution. He inherits the lead as a result. He'll be leading us back to green over Cole Deaver, Ryan Butcher, Benny Watson, and Jessica Shelton, who picked up a number of spots there on pit lane. Austin LaPlante will line up 6th, J Qualls in 7th, Michael Norman, Polster, Levi McIntyre, and Matt Haas are going to complete the top 10. So we'll see how this strategy plays out for Dylan Young. Pocono is not necessarily one of those tracks like a super speedway where you want to come with a group of drivers and leave with a group of drivers to improve your lap time. However, we have seen here, especially in the non-charter race and maybe even the first couple laps of this main event, that draft is important. So we'll see how this all pans out. Maybe Dylan Young's planning on another early yellow coming out here or something. The green flag is back in the air as all 42 drivers on the lead lap, and the move's going to be for 3rd. Benny Watson to the inside of Ryan Butcher. Austin LaPlante to the inside of Jessica Shelton. That's going to be for 5th. Deaver took a little peek there on Dylan Young for the top position. Now, one thing that's going to actually benefit Dylan Young here is the fact that he's going to have less fuel in the tank. While that hurts him in terms of he's going to have to come down pit road a lot earlier than everybody else. It actually does make his car a little bit lighter and thusly makes it a little bit faster. But none of that factored into him being able to hold off Cole Deaver. Deaver back to the point. Benny Watson looking to move into second. There's a lot of drivers coming into this race. If they were to win here today at Pocono, they would all but lock themselves up a spot in the playoffs. Benny Watson is one of those drivers. 10th in the overall standings, 3 top 5s, 9 top 10s. And far enough ahead of the cut line and a couple of one-time winners that he would more than likely, even if he DNF'd next week at Bristol Dirt and the following week in the regular season finale at Auto Club, would still get a playoff position. The drivers right now that are worried that we're going to have a couple more first-time winners on the season down this home stretch are Zach Rogers and Patrick Smith, because yes, they've been to victory lane, but right now Rogers is 23rd in points coming to this race, Patrick Smith 28th. There's a lot of drivers ahead of them in the standings that would leapfrog them if they were to find victory lane in the next 3 races. See the bright blue Bang Energy Dodge of Zach Rogers back there. Now I'm trying to see if I can visibly pick out the 77 of Patrick Smith. Couldn't see him there. 3 wide, almost 4 wide. Shelton crowding Ryan Butcher up the track there into turn 1. James Qualls and Jesse Turner were almost involved in that 4 wide situation, near 4 wide situation. That's now Qualls and Ryan Butcher will have an exchange for 5th place. Dylan Young going to get back around Benny Watson up to 2nd. Watson looks to cross him over into turn 3. Can't quite get there. Jesse Turner looks to take the 5th position back from James Qualls. So there is Patrick Smith in the 77. And his inside, Jack Mitchell. Mitchell last season was the regular season champion. Carried 15 valuable bonus points along with his Darlington win into the playoffs. Right now, he's another driver, much like Patrick Smith and Zach Rogers, that wants to just see multi-time winners here down the stretch. He does not want to see any more different winners because right now, he sits in the final playoff position with where he is positioned in the points. Of course, he would love to be able to breathe a sigh of relief heading into the final 2 races of the season with a win here today. He would lock up a playoff position should he find victory lane at Pocono. Especially when you consider the final 2 races of the regular season. You got Bristol Dirt next week. And we see that is a track, despite it being only a half mile, where they can take it 3 wide and sometimes 4 wide and make it work. It's maybe one of the more chaotic short track races we have all season long. And then you've got a super speedway / speedway at Auto Club the following week. I mean, you might as well have Daytona or Talladega as the regular season finale. It's very much like a super speedway. It's a wild card race, and a lot of times it just comes down to who's in the right place at the right time off of turn 4 on the final lap. So here at Pocono might be the, I want to call it the more normal track of the remaining 3, especially with the fact that, if you kind of consider the final 3 races, you've got fuel strategy race here at Pocono, you've got short track mayhem next week at Bristol Dirt, and then you got super speedway strategy at Auto Club. So, I don't really think there is an easy track for any of these drivers here, as we nearly had a wreck back there. That was an 8th place battle between James Qualls and Phil Parker, and there was near contact between those two. They settle it out, however. Will also hold that 8th position. Jesse Turner going to clear Benny Watson. That is going to be for 4th place. Matt Haas going to pop into the top 5 for the first time today. Actually, that was 3rd place that Jesse Turner took, and Matt Haas moves into 4th. Cole Deaver going to complete the 12th lap of this race as he leads Dylan Young, Jesse Turner, Matt Haas, and Benny Watson. Pit stop should be closing in soon if our non-charter qualifying session is accurate. So we'll be back here for those green flag pit stops in just a moment. We're going to step aside for a quick break, then we'll be back here to the action at Pocono Raceway. Landscape of the top 10 has changed quite a bit here. Jesse Turner has now worked his way up to second place. Ryan Acosta is now up in the top 5 in 5th. Former champion from Season 2. One thing that I am not noticing up here at the front are former winners here from Pocono. Carson Gum was the inaugural winner back in Season 1 as Jessica Shelton hits pit road, so this might be the start of green flag pit stops. Cody Llamas won here in Season 2, and the defending winner of this race, V Almariego. Now, I'd have to go back through my memory bank and remember if Chevrolet has won all 3 races. I'm trying to remember back in Season 2 if Cody was driving a Chevrolet or not. For some reason, I think Cody was driving a Toyota that year. So it would have been 2 wins at Pocono for Chevrolet and 1 win for Toyota Camry. I'd have to double check that one, though. Not 100% certain about that. Now, Shelton leapfrogging everybody, and Dylan Young, I think he's out of fuel. Dylan Young, I think, is out of fuel. Remember, he stayed out when everybody else came to pit road, and it's going to cost him. Look at how he is crawling out of turn 3. So the strategy did not pan out for the driver of the Wawa Ford, and I'm almost wondering if Jessica Shelton might have gone with a little less fuel than everybody else as well, because she did actually gain a lot of track position. And I think that maybe she might have not taken on as much fuel as everybody else, and that's why she came to pit road a little bit earlier than we projected. But that is a tough break there for Dylan Young. Again, like I mentioned, though, he kind of has the luxury to pull a strategy like that, since he is the highest in the point standings with 1 win, second in the overall standings, and has a huge gap back to a number of drivers that would be just in the latter portions of our playoff grid. These two up at the front, though, I mentioned the fact that there are 8 drivers now coming into this race that are multi-time winners, and Cody Llamas has spun! Off the nose of Nathan Ormond, caution's going to fly. K Mathews is collected up. R Brommer, T Wright's going to get a piece along with J Gardner. Big wreck there coming to the start-finish line that started with contact between former Pocono winner Cody Llamas and the 45 of Nathan Ormond. I think maybe some drivers are trying to get to pit road as J Qualls is on pit lane along with Brad Stover and M Haas. And the timing of that caution, I don't think it could have been more perfect for those drivers. Those drivers are going to be able to get their service done, come out here, merge with the rest of the field, and then possibly move up into at least the top 3 positions. Dylan Young going to lose a lap here, though he will be -1 as Cole Deaver is going to lead us back here to the start-finish line and receive the caution at the completion of lap 17. Stover, Haas, well, Stover and Haas, are they going to be allowed to go around the pace car? They should. J Qualls did. And there goes the 8 car. Yeah, I was going to say, they should still remain on the lead lap. They shouldn't be trapped behind the pace car. So we'll undoubtedly be seeing everybody down pit road again. Don't know how close we were to green flag pit stops really beginning. I don't know if the 54, 80, and 8, if they actually were the start of it or not. But they get to do their pit stops under green. They will more than likely gain a lot of track position as a result of the time of this caution. And Cole Deaver will be undoubtedly leading the rest of the drivers down pit road this time. But let's go back and see what happened. I'm going to guess this might have been some miscommunication of a driver trying to pit and another driver trying to stay out. See if we can figure out exactly what happens here. It's 3 wide off the corner, and no, had nothing to do with pit road. Just William Brock, Zach Rogers, Cody Llamas there, and I don't know if Cody pushed up or if Rogers turned left to avoid hitting the wall, but end result is Nathan Ormond spins the 84 off of his nose. You can see right back there, caution will be out at this point. The 8 and the 54 made it past the commitment line. I'm not so certain about the 80 car. And then let's see exactly here when Nathan Ormond comes back up the track. See if we can find a different camera angle here to maybe aid us. Let's focus on the 09 of K Mathews. As Ormond turns the car back to the right, trying to save it. He's going to get Mathews, who in turn gets Brommer. Nowhere for J Gardner to go. T Wright comes flying in, and C Sandfer is going to get a piece of it there as well. Just litters the front straightaway, blocks the entire front straightaway up for the most part, at least for all the racing lines. And so turn 3, first time this weekend, has a caution. Actually, the exit of turn 3, I should say. Entrance of turn 3 had a caution back in the non-charter race. And so that puts out the caution for the second time here today at Pocono, right in the middle of what was going to be potentially our first round of green flag pit stops. And we'll see now who's going to be where when the pit stops are completed. If I'm not mistaken, I think J Qualls is going to inherit this race lead. Well, that caution certainly was not helpful for a few drivers in particular. We had a number that were ready to come down pit road that next lap. They had to race back to the caution instead since pit road was closed, and 3 drivers ran out of fuel during the course of that pacing lap. Charles Sandfer, Charles Belding, and William Brock. Sandfer and Belding have lost a lap as a result of this. William Brock managed to just barely make it back to pit road and remain on the lead lap. Now, drivers like J Qualls, Brad Stover, and J Qualls, Brad Stover, they elected to come back down pit road. So they will be on sequence with everybody else. Matt Haas, however, was one of the drivers that decided to stay out. He was one of the 3 that was on pit road when the caution came out. So he will lead us back to green. Cole Deaver in second, Jesse Turner, Benny Watson, and Phil Parker now the top 5, followed by Adam Garcia, Austin LaPlante, Ryan Acosta, last week's winner Jordan Lopez, and Michael Norman. Dylan Young ran out of fuel there during that green flag run. He will be the first car to lead us back here on the inside line, 1 lap down. Right now, all 42 cars still running, 39 of them on the lead lap. Closing in on the halfway point here at Pocono as the green flag flies once again. Now, the 2 of Dylan Young and the 91 of Charles Belding, they are up to speed. So they've got a chance, I think, here to be able to get up here, maybe get their lap back should they get in front of the race leader and get a caution. Charles Sandfer's got that rear end damage he sustained back during the first yellow flag. I'm not certain how up to speed he is, especially on the straightaway, and I think you see it right there. Kind of almost holding up the 47 of Jesse Turner on that outside line. Deaver's going to get by the lap machine of Dylan Young. A couple cars almost got the wall there coming out of turn 2. And Deaver's going to go back to the point. Cole Deaver has had one of the strongest cars of the day, and he is flexing that muscle as he will go back to the point. Deaver last year ran as a rookie for S3 Motorsports, came back for a second full-time season, and so far has not only gotten his first Duracell Cup Series victory, but also his second. And they couldn't have come at 2 more unique tracks, 2 entirely different tracks. ISM continuing on the S3 Motorsports domination there, and then the Indy Grand Prix road course as Belding will try and get around Matt Haas. This is not for position. Belding is a lap down. Matt Haas in second place. Now this is a battle for position as Benny Watson follows in the tire tracks of the 91. And he's going to bring former champion Ryan Acosta along with him into second and third. Still don't have any of our former winners up here from Pocono. Cody Llamas was involved in that last incident, and so they had to spend a little extra time on pit road. I don't see Carson Gum in the 19 anywhere, nor do I see last year's winner Vince Almariego. Let's try and find those 2. There's Vince, and there's Carson running nose to tail, 22nd and 23rd for those Chevrolets. Now, a couple of drivers have had trouble with stack up coming onto pit road under the last couple of cautions. Brad Stover ran into the back of the 25 on the first round of pit stops under the first yellow flag, and Shelton ran into the back of somebody and a stack up here when the second caution came out. So There has been some contact on pit road, nothing that has wrecked any race cars, but has caused a couple of drivers to have some damage on the front end of their machines, which, talking about the fact that Pocono is a very aerodynamic track with these long straightaways, it could affect them. As a matter of fact, I'm looking here, I'm not 100% certain if it's just the way the graphics are or not, but almost looks like there could be a tiny buckle on the hood of Deaver. I don't know if that's the case or if that's just where the hood pins are, the hood brackets, as caution's out, and Deaver's going to lead us back here to the third yellow of the day. Not sure what this one was for. This must have been towards the back of the pack because I did not see it. And it's going to involve the Ford Mustang of Michael Norman, possibly the Toyota of Cole Baker. So Norman, with a lot of damage on that machine. 22nd in points coming into this race, and I don't know, they might be able to get the hood taken off that car and he'd be able to continue, but very much off the pace, or he could end up being our first retiree out of the event. Again, this must have been towards mid-pack or rear of the field because it was out of camera shot. Never saw it happen, so let's see if we can find it here for a replay, as we have just crossed the halfway point here at Pocono. It's going to start with third in points, Mitchell Collins. He's going to get hit from behind into the heavy braking zone turn 3 by Zach Rogers. And gets sent up the track, and there's just nowhere for Michael Norman to go. He's committed to the outside line, as is Cole Baker, and unfortunately the 22 just drifts up into their path. Turn 3 is designed after the now unused Trenton Speedway. It is the lowest banking corner of the 3. And so it's the heaviest braking zone as well. And Zach Rogers just, I don't know if he didn't gauge the braking zone of the 22 or if he thought he could make the move to the inside and Collins maybe threw a little bit of a block on him. Whatever the case is, Michael Norman's probably not going to be too thrilled about it, as his car is all beat up on the front end of that race car. I'm not sure how he's even really able to find his way back around the racetrack. Not sure just how much of the windshield the hood is covering. But he and Cole Baker get some damage after the Mitchell Collins spin. Just past the halfway point here, and I still don't think we're within the window these drivers can make it the rest of the way, so we still could be in for a fuel strategy finish at Pocono. No surprise that we had everybody back down pit lane here under this caution. Cole Deaver's team getting it done on pit road yet again. He will be leading Carter Friesen, Benny Watson, Matt Haas, and Ryan Acosta back to the green flag, with Adam Garcia, Jack Mitchell, Jordan Lopez, Ryan Butcher, and Cody Llamas, the top 10. We do indeed have our first retiree out of the race, Michael Norman. Dylan Young, Charles Belding, Charles Sandfer will still remain trapped a lap down. Dylan Young in the 2, I don't know if this was from on pit road or not. You can see he's got left side damage on the Wawa Ford Mustang, which he did not have prior to the last caution. So I'm assuming it was possible contact on pit road between himself and another machine. So the fuel window for these drivers we were able to somewhat establish back during the non-charter race is somewhere in the vicinity of 13 to 15 laps. And we go back green, we're going to be taking 21 to go. So these drivers still are going to have to come to pit road at some point in this race. They've yet to really make a green flag pit stop. Only drivers that have been on pit road when the green flag was out were J Qualls and Matt Haas. And a caution flew immediately after they crossed the commitment line. Green flag flies once more here at Pocono Raceway. And Carter Friesen is going to make the move here on Cole Deaver. Friesen was a 3-time winner last season. 2 of his wins taking place during the playoffs, 1 during the round of 16, 1 during the round of 12, so he won his way all the way to the round of 8. Friesen this season, however, it has been anything but good luck, as we're 3 wide. Adam Garcia puts Matt Haas in the middle. Ryan Acosta stuck on the top side. But Friesen's 31st in points. He is a total of 7 points behind 30th in the standings, which right now is being held by the 8 car of Matt Haas, who's only 2 cars behind him. And Adam Garcia, who got his first career win earlier on this season, he's going to look to the inside on Carter Friesen, another driver that's trying to snap the 8-way tie of multi-time winners so far this year. Did not have the run he was looking for last week at Watkins Glen, lost the points lead and dropped all the way down to 4th in the standings. And bear in mind, there are a lot of drivers that are trying to get that regular season championship as well. Those 15 bonus points towards the playoffs. How about Jack Mitchell? Highest driver in the point stands without a victory. And he wants to get his second career win and first of the season here today. It's kind of ironic because Jack Mitchell and the defending winner of this race, V Almariego, they're going to be teammates next season for Adrenaline Motorsports. How about Matthew Rodriguez up here, too? There's a lot of drivers here that have a long winless streak. They're looking for their first win on the season. Phil Parker looking for his first win of his career. And how about the non-charter driver, Joshua Osborne, out of Evans Gardner Motorsports? Whoa, contact there. Phil Parker, Matthew Rodriguez, and Osborne almost got a piece of it. But Joshua Osborne, he is making his 6th start on the year and looking for his first Duracell Cup Series victory. Looking to be the 5th driver as a non-chartered machine to win a charter race, joining the likes of Chris Dallerton, Dylan Schwallenberg, Michael Wayne Robinson, and Dylan Poteet. Now the inverted number is going to battle for the race lead. The 0-1 against the 10. Ryan Acosta, whose last victory was Season 2 at Martinsville, which put him into the playoffs. He went on to win the championship, but he's not found victory lane since then. Ryan is... Oh, we got a wreck. Caution will fly. I heard contact back there. And there is smoke over in turn 1. The caution is going to fly for the 3rd time today. Ryan Acosta 34th in points. And he will have the inside advantage going into turn 3. And out of turn 2. Ryan Butcher will go alongside for 2nd place. Actually, Ryan might have thoughts about this top position. Joshua Osborne, the 56 right there as well. Didn't see who was involved in the wreck. I saw the plume of smoke over there in turn 1. We'll find out who was involved in just a moment as Ryan Butcher is going to lead him back to the start-finish line. So Ryan Butcher, I believe, is going to be the first driver today, not named C Deaver, that leads us back to a caution. And there you see the skid marks up there in turn 1. Let's see who was involved. Oh, 2-time winner Jesse Turner would have been one of those drivers. And possibly Matthew Rodriguez might have been the other. And Matt Rod was running up inside of the top 10, having a great outing. And it looks like he very well might have been involved in this latest yellow flag. Pace car is going to pick up Ryan Butcher. Boy, oh boy, folks, this caution puts them right on the border of the window to be able to make it the rest of the way. This could be close if we go green for the remainder of this race. We will undoubtedly see everyone on pit road here, with it being as close as it is. I don't think anybody's going to roll the dice and stay out. We saw how staying out strategy worked for Dylan Young. So we'll come back, find out who's going to restart where with a restart less than 15 to go. But for now, let's go back and see what happened. Jesse Turner and Matthew Rodriguez, 2 drivers that we know were involved here in our 3rd caution of the day at Pocono. Actually, it was a solo car incident. Jesse Turner was not involved. We'll get to why he was where he was on the track in just a moment, but Dawson Wise, V Almariego taking it 3 wide, and Almariego just runs into the left rear quarter panel of the FRN Chevrolet. Wow, Zach Rogers was on the top side of a 3 wide situation. Very lucky he was able to get low enough to avoid. That was a battle around the 10th position gone wrong, as Matthew Rodriguez gets the brunt of it, rear end damage, and drops quite a bit in the running order after being up inside of the top 10. Now for Jesse Turner, what happened to him was he came down pit road again on the 1 to green under the last caution, did not get caught up to the field when they went back green flag racing, and so that's why he was running where he was running. But he made a pit stop, maybe trying to get a little bit off sequence with everybody else. This caution does keep him on the lead lap, however. So that's what happened there with Jesse Turner. He was not involved in this third caution of the day. Well, we have strategy, and I'm not really sure I agree with it. 3 drivers elected to stay out under this caution flag. K Llamas, our winner from Season 2, Brad Stover, and K Mathews. All did not pit under this caution period. I thought maybe they'd come down the second or third lap of pacing. They did not. So they definitely can't make it on fuel. They have to be assuming that everybody else behind them cannot make it on fuel either, and or a caution will come out and everybody will come down pit lane again, and they'll get a net gain of track position. Carter Friesen right now is the highest running driver in 4th place that possibly could be able to make it the entirety of the remainder of this race on fuel. He's got Ryan Butcher behind him. Butcher and Friesen, they both exchanged a position on pit road. Friesen up 1, Butcher down 1. Ryan Acosta, Joshua Osborne, Adam Garcia, Austin LaPlante, and Jack Mitchell going to be the top 10 when we go back green. I said Jesse Turner did not lose a lap. I was wrong. He did lose a lap there under that green flag pit stop, so he will line up on the inside along with Charles Belding, Charles Sandfer, and Dylan Young. As it will be 13 laps to go by my calculations when we hit the start-finish line. If this race finishes under green, it's going to be a doozy. As the flagman waves the green flag over the hood of the Florida Panthers Ford Mustang. Remember, the top 3, the 84, the 80, and the 09, we know they cannot make it on fuel. Everybody else behind, it's a bit of a question mark. Our non-charter race earlier on, we saw a round of green flag pit stops in the final 5 laps to finish out that one. We could see a little bit of deja vu here in the charter race, as Belding and Turner will get around K Llamas. They'll get their laps back. Now, they would love to see a caution flag right now, because they'd be back on the lead lap at the tail end of the longest line. Charles Sandfer trying to get his lap back as well. Brad Stover looking for the top position on K Llamas, and now Stover's coming to pit road, as is Carter Friesen. So maybe the 37 had stayed out as well. Caution's out. Caution is out, as T Wright's got some damage back there on the 28, and this might have been exactly what K Llamas was looking for. And how about these 3, Belding, Turner, and Sandfer? They're going to get their laps back. What a timely caution for them. Yellow flag going to fly for the 4th time today, and this will set us up for a restart with less than 10 to go, more than likely. Friesen and Stover, I don't think they were on pit road before that caution came out. I think pits were closed. And it looks like Matthew Rodriguez might have been involved in yet another one. Back-to-back cautions for him. Nathan Ormond in the 45's got some rear-end damage, so I'm going to assume that more than likely he was the one that Rodriguez ran into the back of. But I also saw that front-end damage there on the Boy Scouts of America 28 of T Wright. So I have to assume he was also involved in this incident. All right, let's see if this strategy worked out for K Llamas. Well, no, it did not. That thing is sputtering, and we're only in turn 2. He might be out of fuel. And so the strategy will not work for Cody to make it back to the start-finish line, or at least to pit road, maybe under his own power. Everybody here trying to figure out what's going on. Adam Garcia has dropped low. I don't know if maybe he might be on fumes. And K Mathews looks like he will make it around. But he is going to come to pit road by himself. All these drivers that pitted under the last caution, they are staying out since they are good to make it the rest of the way. So the strategy will not work for K Mathews, but he will at least stay on the lead lap. K Llamas, on the other hand, let's see if he was able to even make it back around yet. Yeah, there he is. He's holding up all these other drivers who I guess are going to come down pit road with him. Adam Garcia, is he pushing him? He is. Look at that. Blue Oval helping Blue Oval is Adam Garcia helping to push K Llamas to his pit stall. What a good friend. Caution's out for the 4th time here today, though, at Pocono. Let's go back and see what happened, as Ryan Butcher will be the one to get us back underway with less than 10 to go here at Pocono. 3 wide gone wrong. Keith Batson, Mitchell Collins, Nathan Ormond. This was coming out of turn 2. And Ormond just gets squeezed up into the outside wall. Matthew Rodriguez runs into the back of, I think that was T Wright, who was into the back of Mitchell Collins and Ryan Brommer. Whew. That's a close call for him. Matthew Rodriguez back-to-back cautions he's involved in. Mitchell Collins with a lot of damage, 3rd in points. Nathan Ormond 5th in the standings. T Wright a 2-time winner. As a matter of fact, he had 3 2-time winners involved in that wreck, the 28, the 22, and the 45. So all these drivers, I don't know if Matthew Rodriguez is going to be able to continue. That's a lot of front-end damage on his machine. Nathan Ormond all torn up on the back. Also a bit of a pretty extensive buckle on the hood of the 28. So the garage area might start piling up here as we only had one driver out of the race at this point, Michael Norman. We'll find out if all these drivers will be able to continue as it will be less than 10 to go here on what I'm hoping is going to be our final restart of the day. And indeed, Matthew Rodriguez will be in the garage area and finish 41st. Only driver 1 lap down in this one now is going to be Dylan Young, and with it being less than 10 to go, there will be no double file restarts. So Dylan Young will actually restart in between Vince Almariego in 6th and Matt Haas in 7th. Charles Belding, Charles Sandfer, and Jesse Turner all got their laps back, so they'll be restarting tail end of the field. Cody Llamas, with the aid of Adam Garcia, did get to his pit stall, did get fuel in the tank of his machine. He remains on the lead lap as well. Got a couple of 2-time winners up here at the front. Ryan Butcher in the 78 looks back and sees last week's winner from Watkins Glen, defending champion Jordan Lopes. Former champion Ryan Acosta lines up in 3rd. Non-charter driver Joshua Osborne in 4th. And looking for his first win as a charter machine. I think he's the only charter driver that does not have a win now in the series. Phil Parker completes top 5. The defending winner of this race, Vince Almariego, up here when it matters the most. He's going to restart 6th. Matt Haas in 7th. Austin LaPlante, J Millz, and Jacob Thibodeaux will complete the top 10. First time today, I believe the 98 and the 33 have cracked the top 10. 8 laps to go is what we'll have when we go back green flag racing here. Everybody in the field should be good to make it on fuel now. It more than likely, unfortunately, will not be a fuel strategy race here at Pocono. As into the restart zone, Ryan Brommer heads. Green flag is out. Let's see if these final laps will be under green flag conditions or not. There is going to be a point where if a caution comes out near the closing stages, the race will end under yellow. We run about 3 laps of pacing here under each caution period. As Lopes with a nice run there on the inside of turn 1 gets the left rear quarter panel of Ryan Butcher. Pulls alongside and might have him cleared before they even get to turn 2. Joshua Osborne looking to follow him in now. The tough break there for Osborne is, obviously it'd be great for him to get his first career win, but he does not have enough starts up to this point where if he were to win and make the next 2 races where he would actually make it into the playoffs. He's only got, coming into this race, 5 starts, this being his 6th. He would need to have 4 more starts in the regular season, and there's only 2 after today. But he's not going to let that sway him. He's going to move to the inside of Jordan Lopes for the top spot and keep an eye on that 42. Almariego got his first career win last season here at Pocono, and he'd love to get his second 1 year later. Single car entry out of Northwestern Motorsports. Goes to the inside of Phil Parker as they're side-by-side 2 rows deep from 1st back to 4th. They were side-by-side for 5th, but Ryan Acosta will take the spot from Ryan Butcher. Osborne to the point. Evans Gardner Motorsports has 2 wins in the non-charter series, courtesy of Rob Evans at Martinsville and Indy Road Course, but they do not have a charter win. As a matter of fact, Dodge has been kept out of victory lane quite a bit here this year. It's been mostly Ford and a few Chevrolets that have gone to victory lane. The only Dodges that have won so far this year is Zach Rogers, Ryan Brommer, and 2 wins with Nathan Ormond. It's 4 wins for Dodge out of, 23 races. Lopes not going to be denied, though. He wants to go back-to-back and get his season-leading third win on the year. And a couple of drivers that have now popped up into the conversation. How about Cole Baker in the 11, who has had back-to-back top 5 runs? Second place at Martinsville to Zach Rogers, and then a top 5 run last week at Watkins Glen, despite getting some late damage in that one. And Carson Gum, another former Pocono winner, is up here now. Carson, if he were to win today, he would lock himself a playoff spot, 8th in the overall standings. As the defending champion, putting the pressure on the young rookie Joshua Osborne. And he will get to the inside, it looks like, here, going into turn 2. His teammate J Millz just back there. And the 98, looking for his first win of the season. Another driver who would solidify a playoff spot should he close out the deal here today. Been a multi-time winner in multiple seasons here in the Duracell Cup Series, but we're almost at the end of the regular season. He's still chasing his first win on the season. Lopes took the lead. Osborne crosses him over. On the back straight, it will be 3.5 laps remaining here. Well, I should say over in turn 2. That's technically the halfway point of this race, since it is not a 4-corner racetrack. Osborne not quite able to get alongside of Lopes, at least evenly. Might be starting to see the tire heat kicking on the inside line, not being able to get back to the throttle as soon as a driver would like. Ooh, Cole Baker. 3 wide, almost 4 wide here, as Baker has to hit pit road. Jacob Thibodeaux's on pit lane. Was that Ryan Butcher pitting? These drivers, according to my calculations, were going to be able to make it. Maybe not. Who else is on pit road? That's Jesse Turner. That's both of the Auto Junction racing cars. Thibodeaux in the 33 and Baker in the 11, all pitting. So are these drivers good to make it on fuel? That's a big question. With 2.5 to go, is anybody going to have the guts to stretch it? Or will we see more drivers hit pit lane this next time by? Joshua Osborne obviously can't be saving. He's been out in front for a good portion of this last run, out in that clean air, and it looks like he might be starting to slow. He is. He's coming down, as is Lopes. Phil Parker and Ryan Acosta coming down this time. That turns the race lead over now to J Millz with 2 laps remaining. Who has the fuel to make it? This is going to be interesting. We're going to see if any of these drivers the next time by decide to stay out. Will they then make it back to the start-finish line, or will they run out of fuel beforehand? 3 wide behind the top trio. William Brock, Seth Cole, and Austin LaPlante. Benny Watson in the vicinity, as well as non-charter driver Dawson Wise. You've got 3 non-charter drivers up here inside, or actually 2 now, with Joshua Osborne pitting, but 2 up inside of your top 7. Almariego's fallen off the pace a little bit there. I think he was just backing up his corner for the entry into 3. Or is he pitting? He's running low there, and he's coming to pit road. Almariego cannot make it. White flag will be in the air this time. It's going to come down between J Millz and Carson Gum. Both of these drivers, if they win today, they're going to be in the playoffs. Carson Gum, a former winner here, back from season 1. Trying to get his second Pocono win. J Millz looking for his first win on the season, as is Carson Gum. Carson's not been able to get up to the back bumper of the 98, however. I don't know if he's trying to save or not, but he's definitely not getting the draft that we've seen all race long. He's got to close here in turn 2. Does he have something for him over here in turn 3? He's close enough to make a move if he wanted to. Watson and Brock battling for 3rd place in case these 2 can't make it back to the stripe. Into turn 3 they go. Gum, very smooth, tries to get the better exit, maybe to try and make a move here off the final corner on the front straightaway. J Millz is going to hold him off, though. And Millz is going to pick up the victory here at Pocono. He will advance his way into the playoffs. It's the 5th win for Blue Oval Automotive. It's back-to-back weeks that a Blue Oval Automotive car goes to victory lane. But more importantly, it's the first win of the season for the most winless driver in the Duracell Cup Series. And Ford, I believe, is going to get their first Pocono win here today as well. Not sure what was going on there with Carson Gum, because we saw a lot of drivers be able to really draft up to the back of the car in front of them and make a move. And this might have been the answer right there. Jose Millz and Carson Gum, I think, both just ran out of fuel. Yeah, Millz is out. And that might have been why Carson Gum couldn't really push the issue there, because he was trying to save to make sure he made it back to the start-finish line. And with Jose Millz winning, that now would knock Jack Mitchell out of a playoff position. Now all 16 spots would be filled with race winners on the season. Millz was 11th in points coming into this one, and this victory will put him into the playoffs for, I'd have to double check, but I think this would be the third time in 4 seasons. I'm not sure he's going to be able to make it back to pit road here to victory lane. That car is just barely over 30 miles per hour, and he just made it out of the exit of turn 3. It's a very long front straightaway here. He does have the engine shut off, trying to coast that thing back. I don't know if he's going to make it or not. Let's look at the finishing results as Millz tries to make his way back to pit lane. Carson Gum's going to finish in second place, so he still keeps his opportunity if he's able to win at next week at Bristol Dirt, which I believe is another track that he is a former winner at, or the following week at Auto Club. Same for Benny Watson. If he were to win the next 2 weeks, he would probably lock up a playoff spot as he finishes third. Dawson Wise, how about the non-charter driver finishing fourth? Great performance for him. William Brock going to bring it home to complete the top 5. Levi McIntyre, he led us to the green on the pole position, kind of faded out of the picture, but he came back here in the closing stages to finish 6th. Seth Cole, good run there for the non-charter driver in 7th. Cole Deaver, who led a good majority of the first half of this race, he'll finish 8th, 9th for Austin LaPlante, and we'll have 3 non-charter drivers finish up inside the top 10, with Pedro Lucas finishing in 10th place. Kyle Mathews, that strategy that he played out, it was rather unorthodox, and I wasn't sure if it was really going to work for him. It does salvage him an 11th place run. Matt Haas in 12th, Carter Friesen, James Qualls, and Jesse Turner, who managed to get back on the lead lap, raced his way back on the lead lap. Good comeback run for him to finish in 15th position. Drivers that need to be worried right now, though, Zach Rogers, 21st here today, and Patrick Smith, who had to pit late, finishes 39th. Those 2 drivers, they are in the playoffs right now as things run, but they are in the 15th and 16th seeds, and I don't think either one of them are going to crack the top 20 in the point standings. So if a driver that's up inside of the top 20, top 10 in points wins in the next 2 races, they could be on the outside looking in of the playoff grid. Tough break there for guys like Joshua Osborne, Cole Baker, Jordan Lopez, Phil Parker, Ryan Acosta, Ryan Butcher. These drivers were all looking for good runs here today. Were running very well before they had to come to pit lane short on fuel. Dylan Young was the only car to finish 1 lap down, and Matthew Rodriguez, Michael Norman finished out of the race after 4 cautions here today. But Jose Millz has now locked himself up a playoff spot. Right now, Blue Oval Automotive has 3 of their 4 drivers locked into the postseason grid. Levi McIntyre, the last one to do so, and we'll see if maybe he can make it a quadfecta with a win either next week at Bristol Dirt or the following week in the regular season finale at Auto Club. But hope you guys enjoyed today's race here from Pocono. I thought it wasn't going to be a fuel strategy race. It was. Typical Pocono here in the Duracell Cup Series. If you enjoyed this race, be sure to give us a like, subscribe to become part of the crew today. We've turned to full finish results, and these are the point standings heading into maybe one of the more chaotic races of the season. It's the half-mile Bristol Motor Speedway, but covered in dirt under the lights. It's going to be a lot of fun to see who might be able to snipe another last-minute playoff position. I've been Seth Cole, and you've been watching another production of the NNSCRA Offline Racing at its best.